Today's devotion is the next installment in the Sermon on the Mount. Let's just get after it. And yes, I do change shirts every day. I promise I record more than one video on a day so that we can get them out when they need to be gotten out. So don't judge me. Matthew chapter 7, starting at verse 12. So whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter by it are many. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. So this first part is this is actually pretty ingrained in our society and our culture, the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I'm pretty sure we teach something along those lines still in like kindergarten and stuff. It's like, would you want them to do that to you? And I think it's the easiest way to kind of help to instill empathy with kids. I mean, it's the fundamental principle of empathy. It's how would they feel? How would you feel if you were in their situation? And I don't have a lot more on that part for you, and the life application is do it. Like, treat others as you would want to be treated, with kindness, with compassion, giving them the benefit of the doubt, which I think is one of the toughest ones. Like, when we make a mistake, we prefer for people to say, oh, it was just a mistake, there was nothing malicious there, and we want there to be a lot of grace for us. But when other people make a mistake, there's a temptation to be like, no, they messed up. And they did it on purpose, and they did it maliciously, whatever. And the reality is, they probably didn't. Some famous person had someone said, never attribute to malice what you can attribute to incompetence, or something along those lines. I don't know who said it, but I think it's an apt saying, because in my admittedly limited experience, people are much more often incompetent than they are malicious. So if something's not going your way, it's probably not because someone's out to get to you. It's probably just that something fell through the cracks. Which is a little bit of a tangent. Sorry. And after this golden rule, it goes into enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction. Now, so this is the Lutheran Study Bible. And what the Lutheran Study Bible is talking about is the way of God versus kind of what the notes suggest it's talking about, and I agree with them, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't share them with you, is that following the will of God and trying to live in line with that is a lot more difficult than ignoring it completely. And you say, well, maybe first of all, I have this problem because people there's this idea out there that, like, promises have been made that if you become a Christian, your life becomes easier. That's not the case. We're promised over and over again in Scripture that, in fact, the opposite is the case. And this is just a very practical pointing out of that. The reality is, if you're in line with that first part, and in reality, if you're in line with the rest of the Sermon on the Mount, and you're acting right, and you're showing people kindness, and you're giving people the benefit of the doubt, and you're being honest, etc., etc., your life, it's the narrow gate. It's a harder path to walk, because it is easier to kind of just do the wrong thing. And a very easy example is, say I have an exam, an exam coming up, right? I can study hours and hours and hours and learn all the information and memorize all the information so that I know and I can pass the exam. That's a lot of work. Or I can sit next to the smart kid and copy down all the answers. That requires no work. I just have to sit there and copy the answers. Maybe I have to work on my side eye so that no one notices. But it's easier to do the wrong thing. And I think in a lot of places that is true. And that's what Jesus is talking about here. He's like, yes, I know it's easier to do the wrong thing. Do the right thing anyway. So that's my two applications for you today. Just do it, and then don't do the wrong thing, do the right thing. Because life is as easy as that, right? That's what we're called to, though. Brothers and sisters, go in peace and serve the Lord. Thanks be to God.